Hello everyone, welcome to Old Bluff. It's been a while since I've done a video, so I thought I'd take a little time today. Kay's been under the weather, she's got a sinus infection, so I had to go to the drugstore and get her a little Z-Pack, go by Lowe's, swap out a chainsaw, just one thing or another. But we've had a lot of rain here. It's been a couple of months since I've done a video, but we've had rain on and off through the whole 2 months, and that's kind of held me up. I don't like getting the skid steer out and all the mud and slop, getting it all messy and then messing the place up here around the cabin bill. And also, the main drive pump went out on Precious. So that was a 3-week ordeal in itself there. Had to get the pump off, took about a day and a half, 2 weeks to get another pump, another 2 days to put it back on. So finally got back in the swing of things with that. But I thought I'd just take time today and do a little short video and show you what we've got going on in the cabin here. So let's take a look at it. Here you can see I've got all my foam cut for the chinking that I'm using. I had, I think, 12 sheets, got it cut up. I think I'm gonna be 1 or 2 sheets short the time it's over with, but we'll see. I'll handle that when I get there. Here you can see what the first few courses that I put down look like going in. What I did is I put a layer of roofing cement underneath each log. I built this little jigamaroo is what I call it. I had some ice tongs, had one ice tong with my granddad's and found another to match it. They work good for grabbing these logs and setting them. Put a little load leveler on it. But that roofing cement just spreads out. A little bit of it oozes out on the outside and the inside, but I'll clean it up later. So this is what I've got so far. I've got 3 courses on the front and the back, 2 on the sides, but I'm up to the window level right now, the bottoms of the windows. You can see I got my door open, it's just roughed out here. I might have to come back and trim them. But I've started laying out my windows. They'll be going in the boxes in these sections. So it'll just be little short sections of logs going in and then straight sections. So it should be a lot quicker with what I'm going to be doing with this. Over here we got the kitchen area. I got to come up 1 more log here, another one there, and then that'll be ready to lay out where the kitchen window goes. Then I'll put another one here, and I'm ready to put the drill in for the switch coming in the entry door here, coming into the kitchen from the carport area. So I'm going to drill all those electrical wire holes as I go in the logs. But it's starting to move a little bit quicker. You can see there I got my little rig for my stadia rod. I just mounted it on a little block of wood from one of these dovetail joints that I did, and it's worked out good. I figure when I get the logs up so high, I'll flip it around and just hang it from the logs. But man, I tell you, I sure was glad to get off these anchor bolts. You can see here I had 24-inch anchor bolts. You had to drill and thread all of these through. It was tedious. I've anchored down these bottom 2 courses all the way around, so that 3rd course is just sitting there. Man, it's gone so much quicker. I just cut the log, lay it up there on the chinking, and just screw it down. But you can see what I'm doing here. This foam chinking, it'll compress down. I want a good seal, but it'll just keep on compressing. So the higher I get with it, the more it might compress over time. So I've got blocks of wood. These are cut at 2 inches. Most of them are. But I check every course that I put up to make sure it's running level, and I check the corners to make sure that they're good and level all the way around. And if I need to, I can change one of these blocks out. I've got 2-inch ones cut. I've got 1 7/8 and about 10 or 15, 13/16 inch and 13/16. So I can adjust these logs as I need to. You can see I've got one between the windows, and I'm just doing this all the way up so that it'll have a place to firmly set. And I'm anchoring these logs down with 14-inch log screws. I'm getting these from Permachink. I think they call them timber locks or something like that. But I had to buy a new drill for setting those because the little hammer drills I've got just wouldn't work. There you can see one there, but they work good. They pull it on down 14 inches, so it's going through this log 4 inches and then through the chinking. So I've got 2 inches of thread going into that bottom log, and that's plenty because these things are coarse and they're tough. You can see this log, it's one that I had drilled, but it didn't work out right on that far corner over there, so I didn't like it. So I cut another one to go over there. So I just took what I had there, cut it to go in here because the dovetail would fit. So that's worked out pretty good. But you can see what we got going here. So I'm doing so much hand work on these logs up at the sawmill that I decided I'd go on and stain the inside and outside while I had them on sawhorses up there. I mean, I might as well. So I'm just taking a 4-inch paint roller, a good one, and just applying the stain as I finish the log, get it ready, and just bring it on down and set it. And that's worked out good. But this corner wound up, I think it was, no, that one was right. It was, this corner was an 1/8 inch high, and this other corner was an 1/8 inch low. So I had to compensate. The way I did that was these little blocks, and you might could even see on this one, since it was high, yeah, I compressed. You can see how compressed that line of chinking is compared to that one. So I had to pull it down, but now I've got the same level all across the whole building. So this chinking's really helped out in that regard. And I've got a little bit of a gap right there under that one, which it'll chink, but that just brought it up. And that's why I'm saying I'm checking every log as I put it up, because there is some variation in it, but I just want to keep it as level and square. I'm within 3/16 of square, so I check it every time I get corners done. Go to the next course, I'll check it just to see, to make sure I don't need to move it. You can see I've got the kitchen window over there. I wanted to take some measurements. What I'm trying to do when I order these windows, they are 2.4/4.6 windows. Hopefully what this is going to do is work out in my log work of my courses and come out so that the tops of the windows are even with the tops of the doors. That's the game plan. We'll see how that goes, but I'm gonna make it work one way or another. I know I've got a twin unit going in here after I set the next log. I've got it laid out, yeah, right there. See there, I've got my openings and my box laid out where the window starts here. It'll carry on down to here, and then I'll just be putting in straight sections of the logs, short sections anyways. But I'll be able to, once I get that next one, I'll measure where I need to be exactly. And I'm gonna have to notch this one because I started with a 4.5 inch piece down on the bottom to make all the logs work out. Everything is, I had 11 inch logs to start with on the ends, with that 1 inch, the center line of that 2 inch chinking. That makes it 12 inches from the concrete up to the center of that chinking. This 4.5 plus half that chinking is 5.5, which is half of that 11 inch log. So from now on, my center lines of the chinkings are 12 inches apart. So every course that I set, I go up 1 foot. That's the reason behind that. So it's gonna, when I get to the top, that same course that you see down here is gonna be the last one to go on at the top. And I'm gonna let it run by out on the gable. So that's gonna hold up the end rafter, the barge rafter. And you'll see that when we get to it. So talking about the windows and doors, I went ahead and got them ordered while the rain was happening and all that. Took like 6 weeks to get them in. But I just bought some inexpensive windows, Reliabuilt. I think they're gonna be adequate for this little building. And like I said, they're 2.4/6 is what they are. So it's gonna be 28 by 54 on the opening size. And I didn't spend a lot on windows, but I did on doors. I kind of went all out on the doors. Open this rascal up. I went with a gray ash fiberglass oak look. Hopefully it'll match the cabin a little bit. And I got the jambs done as well. That's gonna be less work for me. That's the little glass. This is actually the front door. The rest of them are just utility type doors. Same fiberglass and finish, but they just have the straight glass with the blinds inside the panes. But these are pretty good doors. But gosh, they ought to be. Everybody's so proud of their stuff now. Man, it's expensive. This is a full view of the front door and what it looks like. While Precious was down, I went ahead and redid this engine hood cover here because it had cracked. This fiberglass, I backed into 2 or 3 things, but anyway, it had, when I got it, it was cracked here, but it had cracked all the way down through here, so this section was just flapping in the wind. I got tired of looking at it, so I reinforced the fiberglass, used a little body filler on it, painted it, bought some new stickers. So she's looking a little bit better anyway. Trying to take care of it. And then, matter of fact, when the pump went out, I had just pat this thing on the tail end and told her how much I appreciated it. And that was like at 8 in the morning. And I was going to get another log, and the darn pump went out completely. And I had to just change everything out in the mud, all the oil. But we managed to get through all of it. It took 3 weeks, but it worked out pretty good. So everything's running fine. Well, this is what the pump looks like. 150 pounds of bulk. And that's what the shaft looked like. And that's what the problem was on it. This is what it looked like, all cleaned out, ready to put back in. This is the chainsaw I had to swap out this morning when I went by Lowe's. I had a new one, 3 months old. I'd bought the extended warranty and it got where it wouldn't start anymore. It was something in the carburetor. But rather than fix it, I just went and swapped that rascal out. This is the side grinder attachment that I'm using to dress off my dovetails on the logs. This really works good. It's a tungsten type grinder in. It really works good. You can just take off a bunch of it if you want to, but then you can leave it smooth as well. So that works good. That's better than the little flap disc. I was using those and some other abrasive thing. I think they're up at the Sawmill, but I went with that and it's working out real good. These are the little abrasive pads that I started with, but they just wear down too quick. They work good and leave it smooth, but you know, in taking it down time after time, they just don't last long. I might get 2 logs out of one, and I think they were like $8 a piece. I paid 20 for that other, and it hadn't phased yet, so I'm gonna stay with it. This is the little workshop I've set up here at the Sawmill. Got my sawhorses set up, so I'll go outside, grab a log that fits the right dimension, bring it in. I had cut them a little bit wide, like 6 3/4 by 10 1/4, so I'll bring them in, sawmill them down just right first, and then come back plane the faces off after I've used that new axe I bought there and kind of rough them up a little bit. I plane them off, cut my dovetail ends where they need to be. I've got those jigs there, and then I've got my stains set aside with rollers so I can just grab it then and stain it out. Also, I do char the outside and the joints to try and deter the carpenter bees from picking on my logs later on in life. I just wanted to show you my setup. It looks like it's gonna start raining here in a few minutes, so I'm gonna get up here and get a few logs, bring them in the sawmill where I can get started on tomorrow, another day. Well, I just wanted to do this short video and bring everybody up to speed, all the subscribers and viewers that I've had. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please think about it. I would appreciate it. Until next time, take care and be safe.